Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another informative video about the glorious years of Magic the Gathering investing and collecting. All right, so this does not happen very often, so I figured I would do a video on this because I think it's really important you guys understand that shit does happen when you mail stuff in the Postal Service. And even with FedEx, by the way, but in this case, the Postal Service. All right, so what we have here is an order I had someone on our vintagemagic.com store. And the guy actually made a mistake. He gave us the address of the wrong address that he does not live in anymore. The problem was, wherever the heck he lives, he probably lives in like Atlantis or something. It was submerged in water or just rained on. It looks like it was soaked in rain and water for a while. I don't think the Postal Service dumps things in water. I believe that this was probably delivered, and then what happened was it was then returned back to me in our P.O. box, like in this bag. We care. We care, Mr. Customer, to inform you that there was some issues with your product, and we put it in this doggy bag. We care so much that we're going to give you also a 1-800 number to file a claim. All right, so what I learned from this situation is that claims, the way it works is that if it was delivered but it was been returned, and if the damage occurs it's hard to track the claiming process. And in this particular case, the package was about $100 at best. And because of the lack of ability to figure out who was at fault, the claim you file here will be denied because it doesn't even matter. That's what I was informed at the Postal Service. Because what happens is if you return the package, but no, I mean, it was delivered, and then I think that maybe the people that live there now gave the package back. Who knows at what point was the items damaged? That's the problem. All right, so let's take a look at this freaking disaster. And now, by the way, I let this thing dry out. Look at this. Look at this thing. So when I package things, this was originally a bubble envelope. Well, look, this thing is soaked in water. Now, it's been about a couple days till it dry up. But look at this thing. Look inside here. It's like mold, almost. I'm going to have to sanitize look at this black stuff. This is like mold or ink. Now, what you'll see here is there's a thick cardboard that I use. So this is the thick cardboard. What happens when I wrap stuff is I use the small box for priority mail, and I actually wrap it up so it's a hard backing so it doesn't bend. Then I use this card saver ones or top loaders in some cases, and then I tape it multiple times. In this particular case, I guess sometimes I tape the whole thing, but I don't do that because customers don't like that. If the thing is taped completely, then what happens is you end up having to sometimes rip the middle, and then they make mistakes and maybe bend the cards. So by doing it this way, they can easily just open up side by side. Now, I'm thinking about it like, okay, if it was taped completely, I guess the water may have reflected into it because this is a plastic case and the water entrance can only go in this little thing. Just like with top loader, the entrance is on the top. So the other thought process is preventative is also, do I use like a plastic Ziploc bag? Because living in the Seattle area, it does rain a lot, but what do? Do you baggie everything with a water, like a bag or whatever, and then seal it up, then tape it just to protect it further, then do the cardboard backing? I'm learning a lot about this because obviously I want to provide my customers with great service and great shipping, but I'm just trying to figure out how often does this really happen? And the truth of the matter is it never happens. I mean, I've never actually in my career of Magic the Gathering had any item literally submerged in water. All right, so let's look at the cards now. I purposely let these things dry out. And by the way, you can't even read who it's to. My P.O. box, you can barely even tell. I don't even know how they figured it out. I don't know what happened. It was like dumped in like watery, like probably, the lake of whatever the heck it was from the guy lived. Okay, so these are the old school cards. And, I wanted to see how these would dry up because I've never seen Magic cards just dry up. And actually, you know, bend test, it's pretty fragile. But if you sleeve them, you know, it's okay. It's okay. Luckily, the only expensive card here was his Beta Script Sprites, which was mint condition, but no longer mint condition. Probably extra moldy, extra crispy edition. Wow, look at this. All this water. The water, ugh, it's nasty. I'm going to have to sanitize here. Here's a Chain Lightning. I don't know how this works either with all these bumps and stuff. It's almost like, is this considered marking if you consider playing the cards in a sleeve? I don't know. I'm going to have to test that out. Here's an Urborg. Oh, my God. Absolutely nasty. Hammerheim. The good old Arabian Nights Rook Egg. So, guys, sorry to say this. One of the Arabian Nights Rook Eggs are gone. Or, not gone, but watered down. Divine Offering and also Teleria. So, these 8 cards were purchased. And now, in the beginning, when I had these cards in the card saver, they were just soaked in water, like literally absorbing all the water because that's paper, right? So my feeling here is that, you know, what do I do in the future? Like, how am I going to do to prevent this? And I guess I'm going to be introducing myself to because I ship a lot of graded cards too. So I also wonder if a graded card was submerged in water, what would have happened? But I think what I might well do is I'll probably end up getting a massive amount of clear bags like this. And I'm just going to start clear bagging. I know people have those team bags that you know, people send them those team bags. Those also get water inside too because there's a flap, right? And if you're submerged in water, it doesn't really matter. But I feel like with the actual bag completely sealed, almost to a point where it's folding the cards, like you have the top loader in here, and then you fold the cards in, and then you seal it onto the thing, and there's no entrance at all other than like you really double wrap it or something, then I think there's a possibility. But it's a silly conversation. Like, this entire thing should never, ever happen. Ever. It's a complete, ugh. It's absolutely a disaster. I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you guys had a challenge with this? Have you guys filed a claim with the Postal Service? Have you guys ever filed a claim? I'd like to hear from you guys. Has a claim occurred and were you denied? What was the process? How does that work? Because I have never had to really file a claim with the Postal Service because I don't know. Like, I think all I've ever had was a package where they said that was scanned, or they said it was never scanned, but I know I delivered to the postal box, and I feel like it was a theft situation where a card, it was like a limited Black Lotus like years ago, where basically I put it in the postal box, we drop it off, and it was never scanned because it was like from the distance of the parking lot, right, the postal box, to the actual box itself. So I feel like that itself was, you know, the biggest claim. And I learned my lesson because now I drop it off at the postal box. And what that tells me is that someone could steal it from the box, any item, right? Because they don't have to technically scan it. They have those big tubs that they wheel it over into the postal box, and then they basically bring it over. Then eventually gets sorted and scanned. So that was the only weird postal service situation I've ever had. And I had a FedEx situation in Italy or something where basically someone had a card where it was stolen in the postal office or the FedEx office, where there was actually a crime that was committed. And that was it. In my entire career, these are probably, and you know, this doesn't count like all the dumb things that occur in the FedEx and postal world, you know, being late and whatever. But in the world of this, the customer, you know, if you guys have to keep in mind, if you have a PayPal or eBay address, your PayPal address is what we ship off of as a seller to, and you can't even read it because the thing's destroyed. You have to update your correct address if you moved, because then what happens is it returns back, and then from what I heard from the postal office is that it becomes last priority mail. I know that sounds really bad, but they don't give it the same amount of priority. I think the handling is pretty shitty. Who knows what crap it goes through, right? And so I feel like if this occurred, let's say the Postal Service was at blame here, or maybe it was watered down at the point of the return place, and then it was returned semi-wet, and then, you know, sent back to the Postal Service. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows how they actually take care of their returns. So anyway, I hope you guys avoid situations like this by learning from this video what I did wrong. I mean, I don't know what I did wrong here, actually, other than the fact I shipped it out. Did the best I could, but I guess I could have put it in a more secure waterproof bag. I might have to invest in, you know, waterproof bags. I have no idea. But long story short, I hope you guys understand what happened here and you guys learned something from it. And if you have any stories, please share in the comments below. I really appreciate it. Take care, guys.